Tony Mauro discusses Justice Ginsburg's cancer surgery and the court's history as it has grappled with health issues and the justices.
It was a surprise announcement from the Supreme Court that this morning Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's been on the court since 1993, had surgery in New York City for pancreatic cancer. Apparently a tumor was discovered in her pancreas during a recent routine annual checkup, and they decided to operate quickly, and she'll be in the hospital for 7 to 10 days. That's the latest we're hearing from the court. No indication yet how successful or what the prognosis is for this cancer, but she's already a cancer survivor. Justice Ginsburg had colorectal cancer in 1999 and had extensive treatment. It was quite debilitating, although she kept working at the court through it all, but she came out of it apparently fully recovered and has been working at full strength at the court ever since. No, the court actually is in the midst of the longest recess it has during the term. The court won't be back in session until February 23rd, so conceivably she could even be back on the bench at that time, although it seems a little optimistic. But of course it all depends on how she comes out of the surgery. Well, the best known health problem was with the late Chief Justice William Rehnquist, who had thyroid cancer, a particularly difficult cancer to treat, and he soldiered on. He continued to serve on the court until the very end, and in fact many people remember that when President George W. Bush was inaugurated in 2005, that Chief Justice Rehnquist, who was very ill at the time, he insisted on doing the oath, and it was quite courageous, it seemed like, and he did the oath, but then he did die in September of 2005. And more recently, the new Chief Justice Roberts, who's obviously a younger and more vigorous man, he had a seizure at his home in Maine in the summer of 2007. We might not have known about that except for the fact that an ambulance was called, and he was taken to the hospital overnight. No lingering problem that we know about, but the court has not discussed the Chief Justice's health. But many of the justices have had their own other health problems. Quite a few of them had some kind of cancer in the past. As a general rule, the court has been very close-mouthed about the health of the justices. I often think about if a president had a similar health problem, there would be hourly briefings and charts and graphs, extensive publicity about it. But we never get that when it comes to a Supreme Court justice. It's really traditionally left up to the individual justice how much, if any, information is given out. I must say that today's announcement from the court was a press release that was put up online, and it actually has significantly more detail than we usually get. And of course, it was a same-day release, so we know more now than we usually do about health problems like this. Justice Ginsburg has been the subject of retirement rumors for years and years, but she always has repudiated those rumors, and in fact, last October, she made some references in a speech to her ambition to stay on until she's well into her 80s. People didn't pick up on that hint, and then she said it again. She really has been putting out the word that as long as she possibly can, she'll stay on the court. Justice Douglas, who had had strokes and was in very poor health, mentally and physically, but refused to retire. This was in the early 1970s. And in fact, he eventually did retire and kept trying to come to the court and trying to vote on the court even after he retired. It was kind of an embarrassment. But it was obvious to the public that before he retired that he was not fit to serve physically. And through history, there have been justices who have stayed on too long, and that's why in the 1800s the Congress passed a law mandating that a retired justice would get the same salary as a sitting justice, so that the justices wouldn't have the incentive to stay on to be beyond the time they should retire for health reasons.
Tony Mauro is Incisive Media's Supreme Court correspondent.